Good morning, Coolest Coast. It's time for Coffee with Kristin and Tina. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Coffee with Kristin and Tina. We're your hosts. This is Kristin Odell. I'm Tina Prigge. So good to see you this morning.
Good morning. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. How's everything?
Oh my gosh, so good. Can you
I
believe it's Wednesday?
I mean, it's Wednesday and it's also in November. I'm not sure. Like, my timeline is just evaporating.
You know what else? If you guys haven't stopped to see the moon, you need to go out tonight and see the moon.
Is it a certain moon? Is that
It
why?
is like a full moon. And when we got up to go to the gym this morning, it was like so big in the western sky. So you can see it at night over the lake, or you can see it at like 5:45 in the morning on the west. But just go see it.
Is it dark when you're getting up in the morning?
Oh yeah.
Ah, that's so hard, isn't it?
Yeah, the girls said last night, "It's pitch black. What time is it?" Because we were getting ready for dinner and I'm like 5:30 and they were like, "Oh."
It was 4:51 and I said to Jason, "Is it like 8:30 already?" It just felt so late.
I know. And we got an hour back. Why do we feel like this?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. But we have a special guest with us today, Kristin. So I just want to introduce her. She has written this book. It's called Dial Down: Holistic Strategies to Move from Chaos to Calm. And her name is Raquel Durden. And she's a retired U.S. Army combat veteran and holistic expert. She helps veterans and first responders find calm through yoga, breathing exercises, nature immersion, nutrition, journaling, and prayer. She's co-founder of Humble Warrior Wellness and Yoga nonprofit, and she empowers others to restore balance and enhance well-being. I think we're going to have such a cool conversation. Let's bring in our guest. Welcome to Raquel Durden. Hi, Raquel.
Good morning, Kristin and Tina.
Good morning.
It's so good to see you. Thank you for joining us, and congratulations on releasing this book. Is this your first book?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so unpack. Tell us, what is that like? And then I want to know more about the book.
All right. So I think one of the best things that makes a book, the whole experience, is like there's a need to write it. There's a need to amplify the message. And I guess I've been personally amplifying this message of connection and wellness for a very long time now. So all of a sudden, I'm running these retreats for my Humble Warrior Wellness and Yoga nonprofit. It supports women veterans. Then I get a little knock from a firefighter saying, "Why just veterans? Like, why not open it up to first responders? Like, we wear a uniform, we run toward danger, not away from it." And I'm like, "Okay, you can come to the party." Then COVID happens, and nurses are suddenly on the front line. And I'm like, "Okay, you can come join our programs too." And we love our male veterans. We love our male, first responder colleagues, but most programs, most resources are geared for them and not traditionally for women. So we created this, inviting space, small groups, and we started exploring wellness practices that would help us literally dial down, shift from your nervous system to fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, because that's how we're geared. We're geared toward run toward danger. That is not normal. That is taught behavior. And we get very good at it, and we practice it over and over. So now I'm having to teach the opposite of that and explore. So you got to come alongside somebody to do that. You have to come alongside, and pretty soon I found myself like doing handouts and diagrams and taking pictures. And I'm like, I need a book. I should have a book. I'm like, I don't have time to write a book. Who has time to write a book? And then it was somebody else. It was a Navy veteran, a doctor, Dr. Amy Stevens. And she's like, "I really wish you had a book so we could do a deeper dive into these wellness practices. Because like a class is an hour. A workshop is like 4 hours. A retreat is 1 day to a weekend. And that's the tip of the iceberg." So I was like, okay, seed planted, seed water. Then another, a colonel, a special forces colonel that I served with and deployed with, and he actually wrote the foreword to the book, Colonel retired Pete Van Amberg. He's like, "I wish you had a book because you're not always available," because I did some consulting with him and different programs on a much larger scale. And I said, okay, that's it. So I was in this little writing group during COVID, I was the youngest by like 20 years. So I became the pet project, their little daughter or granddaughter. And they were such an encouraging group of ladies. And they're like, Raquel, you write really well. You speak clearly. You can take these complex things and kind of dial them down. Ooh, that was twice I heard that, you know. And I said, well, I'm a retired military intelligence analyst. I had to like get smart on very big things and create a 1-page document for a busy leader to like get smart on. So I guess that was, you know, in my wheelhouse. And they said, you should write a book. And I said, oh, stop it. And I said, well, if I did, what would I write about? And she's like, you write about what you're passionate about or what you're really good at. And I was like, well, that's easy. It's the same thing. It's connection and wellness, you know, and they're both so, so, so important. So that started it. And I have a whole framework, but that's the catalyst. Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. So then the book itself, the dial down, these strategies moving you from chaos to calm, are these things that then you yourself were employing when you were in service?
Mm-hmm. So sure, not a little bit in service. I was like tasting it out, you know, trying it out, maybe doing a yoga class once a week because it felt good, but I didn't know why. I ate mostly vegetarian my whole life. I didn't know why that was working for me, but it was. So I just kept running with it. But then after a cancer diagnosis, actually an advanced stage cancer diagnosis, which is presumptive. And some people might not understand what that big scary word is, but neither did I. So I inquired. It basically meant from my military exposure during combat to all these like environmental estrogens and just this environment, it affected me and it affected women, especially of childbearing ages. So anyhow, I was like, whoa, pump the brakes, you know, like cancer. So then I started like, I call it discovery learning, experiential, like, okay, this feels good. Why do more of this, you know? But then also my intel side, my military intelligence hat was make sure it's evidence-based. You know, you have one life, advanced stage cancer. My prognosis was like, you know, basically like 57% to live the next 5 years. And I'm like, I want to live a lot longer than that. And how can I feel so darn good and have cancer? So that was like a mental shift. So I really strive to make sure things were evidence-based and experiential. I always say I'm the scientist and this, my body, is my laboratory. So I think one reason the book comes across authentically, Tina, is because it's things I do, things I've done with my nonprofit and with veterans and first responders who serve for almost 10 years now. And it's backed by science. So I say like experiential and evidence-based.
And the stories in the book, you've worked with other people that have experienced, the different scenarios that you're talking about and how they've then worked through with these different strategies, right?
Yes. The interviews are my absolute favorite part, and some reader feedback that I'm getting, it just almost makes me teary-eyed or giggly in the same moment because they're like, Raquel, I feel like I'm being introduced to some incredible, people, incredible warriors, incredible humanitarians. And I'm like, you are, but when the mission goes well, you don't hear a lot about them. When something goes south, then it's on the news and your feed and all of that. So I got to interview just some incredible people, and I really feel like it was God's hand because I didn't put out an advertisement like, hey, I need to find this and this, and I need to make sure. And when it all shook out, I have older folks, I have young folks, I have people still serving, I have Black, white, Native American. Like, it just shook out. It wasn't intentional, and it did, and it's service represented. And I loved their stories, but I got to tell on myself on one thing. So at first, when I interviewed them, and I'm so respectful of people's time, that's kind of drilled into you on the military side, like early is on time is late, like be clear, get in, get out, And so I set up these interviews. I tried to do them in person or virtually, face to face as much as possible. And I really walked them through these strategies, specifically didactic framework, which is super easy to use. You can even use it with children, well, like teens. And then using these strategies, how to access calm regularly and on demand. And then after having some guest readers, they're like, you need to explain their chaos more. And I wanted to be sensitive. I didn't want to like re-trigger them. There's a whole values to that. So I was like, oh no, I have to go schedule appointments and make more time with these people. Like I was just crushed. And it turned out to be the most fantastic experience ever. They wanted to talk about the chaos. They wanted to explain the why, the how, and then it really emphasized how these strategies really work. So what I want the reader to think is, if these strategies work for these high performance people that are in combat or fighting a fire, or, a rookie cop who had shots fired and one of the first ones on the scene, that these strategies are going to work for me in my daily life when I'm, maybe I have a job that's stressful, a boss that's not supportive. I got to pick up my kids on schedule. I busy, right? So yeah, the interviews were just amazing.
So what I'm hearing is you don't have to be in one of those high pressure scenarios to appreciate the book. All of us in some way have levels of chaos in our lives, and we can not only learn from and enjoy the stories that you're sharing, but the strategies we can employ in our daily lives, even if we're not serving on the front lines or doing something so chaotic.
Absolutely. In fact, I kick off the introduction and I just say, we live in a culture that wears busy as a badge of honor. And no matter who you are, you're busy. We tend to be just bombarded and a little bit overscheduled. And I like to weave in a lot of nature into the book as well. And there are seasons for everything. We can follow nature's seasons, and we're in fall right now. There's a time when we need to slow down and nurture. There's a time when we're high energy and vibrant. Let's show off these buds and flora and fauna, summer, but if we ignore some of these seasonal patterns, we're running on overdrive. We're pushing the gas, but we're in neutral, right? So we don't want to burn out. And the World Health Organization, is always updating their statistics. And, Gen X and Gen Z right now are just, at the highest levels of burnout. So really the book does apply to everyone, whether you're just managing, adulting, or if you have kids on schedules, especially kids on schedules at different schools. Oh my gosh. Like Kristin, my heart aches for you. How do you do it? Especially if they don't have their driver's license, like you're on the hook you're living someone else's schedule and not your own rhythm. And that's reality. So I think the strategies are universally appealing. They resonate with this like kind of emotional survival, but also relatable resilience. Like we're not trying to make you into some, mega triathlete, although kudos if you are. We want to give you strategies that you can practice at home, immediately get benefits from, but benefits that are available, but also on demand. Sometimes, we have to surge. We have to get out of balance to handle a crisis, handle a deadline. But then can we use these strategies to quickly reset our nervous system and find that balance?
Oh yeah, you're not saying there will never be chaos in our lives, but when that chaos happens, which it inevitably will, what are some tools, some strategies that we can use to deal with it, to dial ourselves back down to that calm?
All right. So first, I want to just jump on that statement. Yes, chaos is not to be avoided. Okay. I wrote that and it's really kind of landing. Chaos is not something to fix, avoid, or fear. Chaos is something to navigate. So what I encourage you in the book, and there's a lot of, scientific evidence and experiential learning behind it, is to weave wellness through your day. So choice is important. If I said you have to do chair yoga, guess what? It becomes like this pill or prescription, and pretty soon it's your to-do. It should be like, I get to do, not I have to do. So I introduced several strategies, and one of them is just the tool that's always available to you is your breath. So I would love just to do a breathing strategy. So you ladies are talking a lot, so our throat chakra, if you will, you could do different things that just open up, this area of the body. You can turn your head left and right, chin to chest, lifting up. But then we look at the energy center right below your throat, which would be your heart area. So we want to support that heart. We want to open it up, maybe just goalposts, kind of twist or explore cactus, draw your arms behind your back. That's supporting the heart, which allows the throat to be stronger. So we have some movement. See, I'm weaving wellness, but then we're also going to do a little strategy. And it could be as simple as inhaling for 4, holding lightly. We don't want to hold like we're bearing down trying to go to the bathroom. We want to hold lightly for 7, and then exhale for 8. That's Dr. Wheel's Healthy Breath 4-7-8 breathing. And we can try it.
Let's try it.
Let's do an exhale. Then inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold lightly. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale fully. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And return to your normal breath. Now, normally you would do 3 to 5 rounds of this. And the first one, your brain is probably just going, what am I doing? I can't hold, all this mental traffic. And then by the time you do your 5th round of it, it's just kind of ease, it's mindfully breath flowing. But that's a quick shift to your nervous system. And then, like you said, sometimes you have to face chaos. Your breath is a tool. So we can also use our breath to amp ourselves up. And I like to call it chi breath, like CHEE. And you inhale. I'll just do it. I'll make fun of myself. These are some things sometimes you want to practice in the privacy of your own home, but I put it all out there. So
we'll do it with you, but you got to show us.
So we'll find an exhale, inhale together. And then I want your teeth to come together and go. And we're going to do like 15 of them. You're going to realize you're going to start getting like a little fire in the belly. You're going to start like wanting to talk a little louder. So it just gives you some energy when you need it in the moment. So let's find an exhale. And then inhale fully. Belly expands, chest, and then go. Keep doing it. Feel your diaphragm. Feel your belly going in and out, in and out, in and out. And then we'll just kind of release. But see how that kind of amped you up? Like, yeah, give me something. Let me go walk a 5K, walk my dog, do some jumping jacks, Like, so your breath is a tool you carry. And I felt so strongly about it. I put yoga and breath work in the same chapter because really, in yoga, Kristin, I know you have a yoga practice. That's awesome. If you lose the pose but keep the breath, it's still good yoga. You're still going to gain some benefits from that. So yeah, I love that's one strategy. But then if I could talk a little bit about food, because we're going into the holidays, and I just read an article on how most people tend to gain about 3 pounds. We say unwanted pounds, healthy
peanut butter
body
balls.
image.
I swear to God, it's the peanut butter balls.
But the pickup is Halloween candy through New Year's. And then most people never really lose it. Okay. So I don't really care what numbers say. Again, I'm the scientist. This is my laboratory. How do I feel? I want you to eat for clarity and energy. But in our world, we tend to eat differently on the weekend, and it's not bad, just differently. Maybe we go out to dinner. Maybe we have a big Sunday family meal. We tend to drink differently. So Monday is a great day to reset. I say, like, if you toxed your body, then you can detox your body, but that's too harsh. I don't like things with our super harsh words. You eat differently. So how can I just reset? I think most people are open to a reset. So if Monday, you can eat a little cleaner, eat more plant-based, have a hearty bowl of oatmeal with all the toppings, cinnamon. Cinnamon is an anti-inflammatory agent in the body. I put it in my coffee grounds, brew my coffee, anti-inflammation. I add it to food. Cinnamon is kind of one of those universally appealing tastes to humans. So that's really good. Then lunch, a nice big hearty crunchy salad, maybe add some quinoa into it. And then dinner, clean out the fridge, make a great lentil stew, something warm and nourishing, because in the evening we want our digestion. Warm foods are much easier to digest, and then you can go to bed and your body does most of its digestion at night. It's just easier on your system. So Mondays kind of turn into a reset, and you can kind of ride that reset the rest of the week. And there's other strategies like meal prepping. I include some great alkaline based recipes, but those are some strategies. And when you just pick like one from the breathing exercise, one from yoga, a change in a positive change in your diet, spending time in nature. I can't overemphasize that. It resets our circadian rhythm. And a lot of us are probably struggling with this daylight savings time right now. It can really help. Yoga Nidra. I put a link in there, yoga for sleep. You literally do it in your bed. And I hope you never hear the end of the practice because you're asleep already. It works. It's ancient wisdom, but it's also evidence-based. And then the last one is element is the power of prayer. And I personally, I'm a Christian, and there's ritual prayers, but there's a ton of other prayers. They can be like breath prayers. They can be prayers for other people, prayers of lamentation. There's many, many ways. Some people aren't comfortable praying for themselves, but they love to pray for other people. So you see how you can just pick and choose. And then when you weave them into your life, it's a constant. It's giving you benefit. It's feeding you all along. Not like, oh, I'm only going to do this once a week. How long is that going to last? How long can you ride the benefits of that? It's better than nothing, but you're not. What I like is that consistency. Is it benefit? And then will it also help me on demand?
Well, and it sounds like your strategies are touching a lot of different facets of life too. It's not just, oh, if I'm going to work out, do this. But you're talking about food, you're talking about just breath work, you're talking about when you're sleeping, right? There's all these different facets of life that it's touching. I think too, in the book, is there sort of a worksheet component? Like, is there, space to take notes or things for people to work through?
Yes. So I really, I envision this book, a mentor and a former teacher, Bev Diener from Manitowoc. She has her bookstore. She encouraged me. She goes, this sounds like a transformative guide. Like, maybe you should encourage the readers to highlight and mark it up and tab it out. Well, that's how I read. Look at my version. I need to buy my own book because I pretty much trashed this one already, or get a hardcover. I don't know. But I'm very physical with things, and I like a ebook version, like kind of on when I'm traveling and stuff. But for me, I'm very tactile. But yes, there's opportunities without disturbing your reading. Like, I like reading and then going. So the appendixes have a lot of things where you can do the work. You can answer reflective questions. You can use these strategies or pick and choose. But then there's the own weekly diagram where it pulls it all together. There has to be a unifying, like, I don't like it when I learn something and go, I don't know how to use this. So application is key, right? So it shows you how to do it throughout the week, and then adding a little intention, or what I call a mantra, a personal mantra to that week, a focus. So, we're post Halloween, we're moving into the holidays. The focus might be a time of dialing down, nourishment, hearty, warm meals, time with family, connections. You can pick that word and then cultivate your week toward that, making it supportive. And these strategies aren't just Raquel's good ideas. Like, they've been working for people who serve, for over a decade. The ancient wisdom goes way, way, way back, and I'm very authentic. I'm doing the things. I'm doing the things. So you have tools and you can use them and you can reproduce them. I printed it blank and I gave myself as an example. This is what I do. And I love, a good trainer always says, this is a way, not the way. Because you have to play with it. You might have to play with it a little so it fits your life, your family, your current season of life.
And I think too, what's so valuable is it doesn't require having to have all sorts of other tools, right? Like there's one part in the book, and it talks about being at home is comfortable, secure, and safe. And there's this little poem, and I just want to read the poem because it says, "Porch, secure, comfortable, reclining, watching, being, patterned lines of grass, refuge." Just like being on our own porch, giving ourselves that time, right? Like that doesn't require anything else. There was no big what to do. It'd be the perfect place to do the little chi breathing we just did because that
Yeah.
was amazing. But I
Uh-huh.
love that it's not saying you have to go out and invest in all sorts of equipment or anything like that. Like how can you use what you have to be your refuge, to find that security and comfortability?
Absolutely. And, working with adults, I found some, I'll call them universal truths. They want to be good at everything. They forget, like, the child learns to walk by falling down and getting back up, right? They don't embarrass them ever. Don't ask me to do something in front of, when I'm not ready. That's why I like to say I come alongside you, or Humble Warrior does, or all these different forums. And then they need an invitation. And most people feel very comfortable exploring things at home. Home is their little safety bubble, space, all of that. So if you can give them tools, examples, we have some video links for the person who is like more of a visual learner or wants to go into it. But people will find the time to do it. It might be after the kids go to bed, or maybe you wake up early before your job and you have some private time. But exploring things in your own home where you don't have to have an expensive gym membership. I mean, kudos to you if you can afford it and you use it. Don't just have it, right? But it's going over well. And a lot of people, we're highly mobile, right? We travel, we visit, we have schedules. You might find yourself in a hotel room. You can still do these things, or a guest room with a futon.
So, okay, Dial Down. This was just released by Freshwater Press, which is a local
Yes.
publisher. So I think
Yeah.
that is so cool. Where is the book available? How can people get their own copies of it?
So the book is available, I say, everywhere. All the standard places. You can go to bookshop.org. You can go to Amazon and have it at your house the next day. You can get it from the publisher, Freshwater Press. They do offer a book club deal, because we love book clubs, right? They get you to read things you wouldn't normally. So if you go directly to the publisher, there's some freebies. If you order, X amount of books, then you can get some free ones. And also, I will plug into your club. We can schedule some time to do that. But I also have my own website, RaquelDurden.com, and I list them all. So if you want to support independent bookstores, you go to Bookshop. If you want the big box and you want it now, you hit Amazon or Barnes and Noble. If you want to support an awesome publishing company, Freshwater Press, you can click on theirs and maybe explore the book club option. So you can get it widely available.
Awesome.
And this Veterans Day, Freshwater Press is an amazing publisher out of Two Rivers, Wisconsin, and they have been so great to me. I've been such an active partner in this whole experience because this is my first book, but it's not theirs. And they know I'm a veteran. I'm a U.S. Army veteran, served 25 years total. Thank you. So is my husband, and our adult son is currently serving now. So service runs in family, but they wanted to acknowledge that. And they came up with just an incredible way. I'm getting glassy eyed here, but they're going to make my ebook version of Dial Down available free to everyone on Veterans Day, which is just an incredible way to say thank you to the veteran community, to honor my service. So that is on Amazon Kindle. So if you go to Amazon and type in Dial Down, I'm the only one, or Raquel Durden, you'll come up, I'm the only one. So that's good to have a unique name. But the ebook version, you don't have to, like a lot of Veterans Day specials are only for veterans. And they're saying this deserves national attention. Like, this is good. This is universally good. And they're putting it out there. So
not only for veterans, anyone can take advantage
anyone
of this opportunity
Yes.
on Veterans Day.
Yes. And
That's beautiful.
it's an incredible, thank you. I appreciate them so much. And part of being on this side of a book launch is I'm starting to see groups of people that the book is really landing with that I never expected to. So teachers, oh my gosh, I've gotten such feedback from special ed teachers, and if I may give an example, someone said, if a teacher has a good day, something good happened to him or her. They said, if a special education teacher has a good day, maybe that means they were only hit 10 times or had to deal with, ruffled parent feelings, or, they had this crisis or meltdown. I'm like, wow, I didn't have visibility of the special education field. And I've had multiple people, buy a book and then come back and buy them for the whole department, things like that. Other educators, university professor, she reached out to me and she's like, I'm buying 20 books for my entire faculty. Like, we face chaos every day. And I can imagine, anyone in the education field post-COVID has dealt with so much. And just, other organizations. I had a high school that went through an active shooter situation, and they had terrible losses, a beloved football coach, a teacher, 2 students, and several others injured. And they reached out and they wanted breath work and yoga for their football players. Never did I ever think I would be teaching 80 football players. 80. 80 football players can get a little squirrely in a yoga class, right, Kristin? Can you imagine that? So I had to hold space like a ninja. I was like, maybe we could get a coach in here to help me hold space, but they're seeing value in these things. And it feels really good. Freshwater Press helped me amplify this message of accessible wellness, returning to balance. When you're out of balance, you tend to gravitate more toward what brought you out of balance. So that teeter-totter effect, right? And then all of a sudden you're really out of balance. So wellness strategies can help rebalance. And I think that's very important.
And like what you said when we started the show today, weaving that wellness through our daily lives. That's just wonderful. Raquel, thank you so much for taking the time to join us, to talk to us about your book, Dial Down, Holistic Strategies to Move from Chaos to Calm. Congratulations on the launch, and thank you for sharing your important message with the world.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me there.
You bet. You've been watching Coffee with Kristin and Tina. We're your hosts, Kristin Odell. I'm Tina Prigge. Our special guest today, author Raquel Durden. We'll see you all next time.
Bye, guys.